right, welcome back to Local News Live. I'm Victoria Shirley. We're tracking Tropical Storm Elsa that's coming up the coast and expected to become a Category 1 hurricane by this afternoon. Right now, WWSB Sarasota, Florida, our great TV station there, is having live team coverage. We're going to go there now and learn the latest about how this storm is impacting their community. We joined this press conference late, so I'm going to go ahead and replay it for you. This is a crazy story coming out of Houston, Texas, where police have found looks like around 90 people in a home. And as soon as they read the verdict, Derek Chauvin's bond was immediately revoked and he was handcuffed and taken out of the courtroom. Whichever reporter goes live first, we will take them. You can see the smoke billowing out behind them, and that footage from WLS provided to us by CNN. You can just see the fireball in the sky. And the latest we know right now is the fire department is just going to let this fire burn. Marlo, you're following the story of a missing 11-year-old boy who was last seen leaving his school. Clay Osterly is here to join us. Clay, it is so cold that you did an experiment this morning with some water. What was that experiment? How is DC feeling right now? What's the atmosphere like? As you saw in some of the footage that we've been airing, there's also a very tall fence protecting the Capitol grounds with barbed wire on top of that. And you were listening to the latest on the condo collapse out of Surfside, Florida. And I will briefly give you an update of what exactly was said. I'll pull it up here. You can see her picture on the left-hand side of the screen. Go to WDBJ7.com or go to their Facebook page. Share this story. The more eyes out looking for her, the better, even if you're not from that community. And since this threat is so widespread and so severe that it'll affect many great TV stations, I've asked meteorologist Clay Osterly to come in here and kind of break down who is facing this threat and what they can expect. And Clay, one of the unifying things I've been seeing from the stations all across the country is they're calling this a first alert weather day.
Right.
What is a first alert weather day? Wester is a former Jackson County deputy who was accused of planting drugs on people he pulled over for minor traffic infractions. So they're demanding the release of that body cam footage because we do know that deputies were wearing those body cameras and they were working at the time. Can you flip the camera around and show us? You said you're at Walnut Creek, that's in Papillion, and you had mentioned that
yes.
That is a place that his family liked to frequent, and so it's possible that he could be in the area. The people you see in front of you, are those people that are helping with this search? Some excellent insight from WBTV Chief Investigative Reporter Nick Oshner there. And just to briefly recap, we just played you video of civil rights leaders. They're seeking justice for Andrew Brown Jr., who was killed in a deputy-involved shooting in Elizabeth City, North Carolina by Pasquotank deputies. We're going to go straight to some breaking news we're following out of Kansas. This is our Wichita station, KWCH, and it's out of Ellsworth County, Kansas. And Nick Lawton has pulled up a map for us that are not familiar with this area, and he's going to give us a little bit of a locator while I pull up some video from a viewer that gives us our first glimpse of this natural gas pipeline explosion. Nick. But before we do that, I'm going to run through some of the most recent police killings and what was the outcome of those killings. So I'm going to pop up this full screen, and once I'm done with this, we'll go to Amber. All right, you are seeing some brief reaction happening outside of the courthouse. Again, here's what happened. Derek Chauvin sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison. The governor had the Surfside mayor with him, and he provided some important information and important updates. And the Miami-Dade Emergency Operations team, they were in a different location giving updates at the exact same time. And here are the main takeaways from those press conferences. We're tracking some major winter weather that's happening across western Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming. And I'm reading that totals could be up to 48 inches in parts of Colorado, up to 25 inches in the Denver. We are about to take some aerials of Milwaukee, where a very exciting parade is about to begin. The Milwaukee Bucks fans will be parading through downtown Milwaukee, celebrating, of course, the NBA championship with a parade. But if people are just now joining us on Facebook and maybe they're not the biggest sports fans and they're seeing this video of so many people gathered in downtown Milwaukee, can you explain in a nutshell, what are they celebrating? What is happening? All right, Amber, you've been looking across our great TV websites, finding some fun stories. What's the first one you're going to kick us off with? Kind of give us a gist of what this story is about, and then also how she was found safe. Well, while we were interviewing him, we got to see it erupt, which was really, really cool. But yeah, he decided he had been watching and documenting and just seeing this volcano that was erupting since March. And he decided, Tyler, you know what? Life is short. I'm a meteorologist. I'm a scientist. This stuff is right up my alley. I'm going to buy a plane ticket and I'm just going to go see it for myself. I mean, that is one great way to live your life, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
And David, you're a meteorologist by trade, so obviously a scientist. So that something like this must be really fascinating for you to see in person. Can you kind of describe what it's like to witness something like this in person?
All right, welcome back to Local News Live. It is Nick and I's favorite time of day. It is time for Seagull Watch 2021.
Yay, Seagull Watch.
Is it typical for a seagull to build their nest right? I believe it's right outside of one of the doors to your news station. Have people told you if that's usual? Seagulls are common to Alaska. What has the reaction been like with your community with the Seagull Cam? I just have to say our great TV affiliate Wave 3 News has done a really incredible job tracking the progress of the reform and what the activists want since Breonna Taylor's death a year ago. And in September, when this settlement was announced for Breonna Taylor, it was the largest ever paid by the city in an officer-involved shooting case. And I'm going to click on this coverage here. You can see this is Wave 3 News' website, and we're going to play this coverage of when this settlement was announced in September. So we should probably bring up the man of the hour. It is Friday, April 30th, and we're going to bring Mike Bell up because he is going to pull up our top trending digital stories. Mike Bell, you've been looking all afternoon for the top stories, the stories that are not only doing well, but are capturing the attention of the nation. You've got good stories, happy stories, sad stories, bewildering stories. So we're excited to hear what you've collected for us and for our audience, Mike. Yep. Wow. Right over this music festival. So you could say...
What does this mean?
What does this mean? You could say that at the end of rainbows are pots of golds or Lucky Charms, but in the heartland in Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, it's country singers. So that's what you can find there in Topeka, Kansas.
Victoria, you're not guilty of this, are you?
Well, right now I'm in control of our awesome digital desk, so I'm clicking between all these different screens, but if I wasn't, I possibly would be. Actually, let's do a test. Put down those little marker things, and I'm going to zoom out.
Okay.
And we'll see where your hands naturally go. Let's see, I'm going to zoom out.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, busted.
It's a little different. It's a little different.
Not really, no.
It's kind of. Give me some credit.
Yeah.
Give me.
Yeah, and we just heard someone speak talking about how they're disappointed in Alabama's vaccine numbers. So I'm going to actually pull them up and see where they stand compared to the rest of the world. And I think that's one of the reasons why the administration is targeting Birmingham, Alabama, to make sure and get that push out there. You are watching the Breonna Taylor Remembrance March through the streets of Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to go on for a little while longer, so we're going to keep an eye on it, and we're going to come back to it if we notice anybody speaking or anything is going on. Plenty of cities are preparing for whatever the outcome is and inviting the National Guard to their cities. I know last summer, after the George Floyd killing, according to the Military Times, 5,000 National Guard troops were called to 15 states and
DC, the District of Columbia. The best outcome any family could hope for. Especially, I love that you showed that map. It really gave us perspective as to how far away she was from home. And she really didn't get that far, only a 5-minute walk. And
right,
again, you can find this article, wvlt.tv, if you want to follow along or if you want to learn about these facts as well. Okay, so did you know the state symbols of Tennessee? The state beverage is, what do you think? Welcome everyone to the Mike Bell Show. Mike's gonna have the top trending stories across not only Gray TV's affiliates websites, but also on Facebook. He's got some great stuff for us today.
Oh, hey, boy. Nick, if you could have something drop out of the sky with a drone, what would you pick?
Pizza.
Nick says pizza.
Pizza.
And you can't drop pizza out of the sky, so you're right. Maybe it lands in front of you and then you... Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a couple of people to help break down the NCAA bracket. I'm going to pop up Brian Pierce here. He's going to help us out and kind of give his predictions, and then I'm actually going to get out of the way. All right, that's the kind of content we like to see on a Friday afternoon.
Remember murder hornets? They're still here.
Are they?
Yes, and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like they were huge in the news last year when everyone was like, what else can 2020 hit us with? Mm-hmm. But you didn't really hear much more about them. So you're saying they never left?
Time to weigh in, Victoria. Yay or nay? Mustard on your watermelon.
Nay.
Nay.
Those
nay.
flavors, it doesn't work. I mean, watermelon is like sweet and airy and it's just so good. And mustard is like tangy, like...
Tart.
Tart, yeah. I wouldn't do it, would you, Nick?
Yeah, why not? You only live once.
I mean, you were saying you would eat cicada sushi.
Yes.
So...
Yes, but mainly for the protein.
Man, if you drop your keys in lava, don't reach in, because, man, they're gone. And that's the Mike Bell Show.
Some solid advice to take us out on. If you drop your car keys or your house keys in some lava, don't reach down and grab for them.